Aviva, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy and very honored to be here talking to you.
So I remembered you posted on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago. And I remember that I took my father when he was alive, may he rest in peace, to one of your programs. And you're a gerontologist. And I brought you on the show because there's a lot of men who are listening to the show who might have a father with, or a mother with Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, and we'll talk about the differentiation in there. And I wanted to deep dive into how do we deal and how do we communicate with a loved one who has dementia, and what can we do to become better kids, grandkids, whatever that is, in order for them to be happy and live with as much of a smile as they can, moving forward. So first, tell us kind of the history. What made you get into gerontology, and how did you get into it?
Well, I got into it by pure accident. And if you believe in the word basher, it was basher for me to become a gerontologist. 20 years ago, I was in Yom Kippur in my temple, and the rabbi asked me a favor. He had a senior program in the shul, and the person in charge of it was suffering from cancer and was going through chemotherapy. And he said, can you do me a favor and just volunteer a couple of days and help us with the program? Never worked with older adults, never had experience, but what do you say to your rabbi in Yom Kippur?
Yes, sir. Yes, Rabbi.
Of course. What do I do, right? So I went in on Monday and I started to discover my new passion and my calling. At that time, I started coordinating and organizing from scratch a program for seniors that live in the area, that were living alone, that didn't have anything to do, and the shul wanted them to be active. And it lasted my volunteer 5 years, and I loved it. But I discovered and I realized how much I didn't know about caring for older adults, how many issues were involved. And as people age, they get sick. And of course, when you are diagnosed with any disease that is not dementia, you have hope of cure. But when you are diagnosed with dementia, with Alzheimer's, there is no hope. And it's a disease that lasts forever, for a long time. It can be 20 years. And now what do you do? And not just what do you do, how you treat a senior with dementia. And unfortunately, we live in a society that we label. And when you label somebody with dementia, you think, oh, they're done. They can think, they can smile, they can work, they can do nothing. So now what? What do I do with my loved one for 20 years, for 10 years, for 5 years? And I started to realize that I needed more education. I needed to understand how to deal with people with dementia and how to better their lives, because they are still alive. In my book, My Love, a person is dead when they are not breathing, until their last breath, until they are alive. And you know what? If you tap into their hearts and their souls and you get a response, you are communicating they are alive, and you are bringing the best out of that human being wherever they are in the moment.
I love it.
I went back to school. I went back to San Diego State, and I discovered there was a program, a gerontologist credential. I took it, and then Jewish Family Service hired me, and I started working for Jewish Family Service, coordinating a senior day program. At that time, that program was for healthy older adults that wanted to socialize, that wanted a place to go and play a game, to eat, to meet other people, to laugh, to sing, to exercise. But as time went by, I realized that a lot of those older adults were getting older and were getting sicker. And they, of course, had dementia. And I realized by trial and error, this is not working. The program that I have, it's not okay. I'm bringing a lecturer to talk about different issues, and unfortunately, I saw that the people did not respond to that. They were sleeping.
Yeah.
No. You are not here with me to sleep. You are going to be here with me to be alive.
I love that.
To be you. And I realized, what am I going to do here in the 4 hours they are here? Because I want them to be the best they can be. And that's how I started to focus on developing a program that is open and welcome for anybody. But my standard is to cater for people with dementia and Alzheimer's.
And I've seen you in action, and you're amazing, and the energy that you bring. And like you said, you want them to feel alive, and you come through with so much life that they only can smile and laugh. And you know, you mentioned that sometimes we think that people with Alzheimer's and dementia can't remember, but my father was sharp. He would remember things from 20 years ago that I couldn't even remember ever. And the hardest thing was being able to communicate with my father, because he couldn't speak that well. But knowing that being with him made him happy is what we did. So what I want you to go over, what I want you to tell us, Aviva, is how do you give life to these people? How do you surround yourself with energy when what you're looking at is a loved one who is sick? And we talked about this in the pre-interview. Dementia is kind of the top bracket. Underneath dementia, there's Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and those are different types of dementia, correct?
Correct. Let me tell you something, Iga. I think that we as human beings and in society, we are terrified about disease. And very few people face a disease with a good face. Even death. When somebody is dying, and I experience it with my dad, and I have been experiencing with so many people, because people ask me, how do you work where everybody, I mean, they die so fast. But I said, you know what? I love what I do, because when one of my members, my clients, my friends die, I know that I made a difference in their lives. And we all have to die, right?
Yep, we're all going to go.
Look what happened in Miami. You are sleeping at night and boom, the building is collapsed and you are gone. Yeah. So my philosophy, and unfortunately, I don't know if you know, my mom passed away 15 years ago, beautiful, young, in a car accident while she was traveling with my dad in Cancun. And boom, her life ended without saying goodbye, without knowing, without being sick. So really, I have learned to live my life every second, because you don't know the second what brings you. Every second to the fullest, and make the people around me the same. And you know what? Bring the best out of them. How you treat somebody with dementia, the same way you treat somebody without dementia. How do you treat them? With respect, with dignity, with compassion, and with love. And for me, I have a lot of students and volunteers that come to volunteer to my program. And one thing I want to teach them, because they are going to be the ones that are going to care for us, if they can learn to be empathetic, to have empathy when they are dealing with anybody else, even a friend. If you can put yourself in the shoes of the other person before you treat them, you answer, you talk, you are mad, then you will treat them right. It's very difficult, Igal. You tell me about, because I am a professional and it's very different for me to treat my clients than the family members. And I have been a family member because my husband's father had Alzheimer's and he was my client. He was my father-in-law. Wow. I adored him. and I saw both sides, treating somebody a family member and as a professional. The difference, I will tell you what it is. The difference is that as a family member, you know your loved one when he was healthy. You knew your father when he was the father, the strong
man,
amazing, bright, intelligent human being. Suddenly, your father that he used to be, he's not there anymore. So to accept that and to switch in your mind, that switch that, Igal, it's not your dad, it's you that have to change because your dad cannot change. That's difficult. And you demand, you want your dad to be the same, and you get mad because he's not the same. And it's painful.
One thing I realized while you're saying that is, you know, when my father first got sick and he got sick to the point where he couldn't speak that well and walk that well, I realized myself getting farther and farther away because I couldn't communicate. Until I told myself, if I get too far away, it's going to get lost. And if I don't communicate, I'm not going to have time with my father. So I would go to his house, watch TV, hold his hand, and we wouldn't talk, just watch TV. You know, I'd go say hi, and I would do all the speaking and ask 15 questions. And some days my father could speak perfectly, right? Like he wanted something, and then the next day he would mumble and we couldn't understand. But you're right. I feel like a lot of people tend to disconnect from the loved one who has the disease because they can't connect the same way that they were before. And it's up to us as the healthy family member to switch, you know, to turn on the switch and say, I need to connect even more now. I need to change.
Exactly. And this is why I have the joy of my life working with people with dementia, because when they come to my door, I don't know them. I don't know who they were. And believe me, I have had professors, military men, doctors, teachers, incredible movie producers, that when they enter my program, I don't have a clue who they are, but I know who they are right now. And right now they have so much. They're still there. Today, somebody in my team sent me a video that I was solving. Unfortunately, a lot of young people are getting dementia.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am going to be 60 this year. And in my program, I have people younger than me.
My father was diagnosed 58 years old, Parkinson.
And it is devastating. Well, this, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to send it to you. But this was about a young 56-year-old man, early detection, that he's bad and he doesn't remember his wife. But his heart remembers and knows that he loves his wife and he's in love with her.
Wow.
They have been married 13 years. He doesn't remember. So he goes with her and tells her, propose to her, would you marry me? He doesn't remember that he married her.
Wow.
Years ago. And the wife, instead of saying, what? What are you talking about? Don't you remember now, guys? If I can teach you something today, if you can learn something today, please don't say, do you remember that word? You don't say to somebody with dementia, because to tell you the truth, I don't remember. So she said to him, of course I will marry you. And you know what? The daughter is a party planner. She planned the whole.
No.
They married again. And you have to see that. I was sobbing. And I said, this is beautiful. Because people with dementia, and I will tell you, people come to my program and they come every day. And I try to make them happy. We exercise, we sing. Music is what, the last thing that goes, our brain is music. Yeah. Music connect. If you learn something else, put music. And believe me, you probably know what music your dad or your grandpa, or your wife's love. Here we are talking, Igal, not just sons and grandchildren, but we are talking about husbands with their wives.
Yeah.
Know the music that they love. Put that music and you will see people that cannot talk, they start singing the songs, singing. So treat them with that love, make them happy. My name is not easy. I mean, Aviva is not a common name. They leave my room, they will forget what they do, they will forget what they ate, they will forget everything. But the following day when they come back, they come and they enter that room with a smile that they know this place is safe. In this place, I can be me. They understand me. I feel comfortable and happy. And for that, you have to work on it. And you say, how do you communicate with them? And I had another group that asked for me, what tools do you use? And you know what? I said, we carry the tools with us every day. Our eyes, very important. See them, observe, not just look at them. See every second, and you know your parents, you know your loved ones. You know when that face is a face of pain, despair, happiness. Listen. Now, it's difficult. Some people have very difficult time to elaborate even a sentence. And you say, oh my God. And you are trying there to say, well, what is he trying to tell me? And you want to complete the sentences that they are talking. And you are, you know what? Who cares? Pretend you are having a conversation with them. Don't ignore them. Don't make them feel bad, uncomfortable. Tip us know, and if anybody can, and educate yourself. Very important, very important. Educate yourself. And Teepa Snow, Teepa Snow, is an expert in dementia, and she has an amazing group of videos and classes and courses, the positive approach of caring. And she says a person with dementia is not giving you a hard time. They are having a hard time.
Oof. Of course. I mean, whew, you're bringing up a lot for me here. Of course. I mean, we always tend to think like, oh, what are we going to do, and how are we going to take care of them, and this is going to get hard. But we forget to imagine what they're going through. I mean, you met my father, I think, before and after. My father was.
Can you imagine? I mean, we can. Thank God we can't imagine. But when I start getting them at the beginning, and then as the disease progresses, you see. Don't you think that they know when they come and they ask me, Aviva, I don't know what's happening with me. Imagine waking up and where am I? I don't know. My loved ones. What a terrible feeling for them. So if we put more stress on them, and what I see and listen, also, get support, very important, wherever you are. It's so important to get support. There are so many amazing organizations, wherever in the world you live. I can bet that Alzheimer's Association, wherever you are, they have amazing programs, support groups. We at Jewish Family Service, we have support groups, we have programs. There is an amazing program here in San Diego. It is the Southern Caregiver Resource Center. It's a resource center for caregivers, because sometimes those caregivers, and more with the pandemic that we have to live with them 24/7.
Yeah.
Now they can't come to me for a year and a half. My program is closed.
It's got to be so stressful, both on the person who has the dementia or Alzheimer's and the caregiver, who all of a sudden are locked in a home 24/7 with no resources because they used you or they went somewhere else. And so now they had to sit there and learn to do what to do.
So accept as a caregiver your reality. And you have to take care of yourself because this is a long journey and a hard journey. And the majority of partners are older adults also.
Yeah.
And you have to physically, mentally, take care of spiritually, take care of yourself. Get into a support group. And you know what? I have a support group and it's amazing the friendship and the support and the love that then the caretakers or care partners get from each other. They learn from the experiences. They understand. They make those decisions, hard decisions. When do I take the car off the keys from the car?
That was the toughest thing we ever did because my father kept saying, give me my keys, I can drive. Like, what? I bought you guys your first cars. Let me, like, what is your problem?
And until you are not in that position, you don't understand, as you say, how hard it is. And but you have to do it.
I think one thing that comes to mind right now as you're speaking, Aviva, and me, is that you've got to also let go, right? You've got to let go of your pain. And I remember with my father, we were going everywhere and trying everything, and that's great. But also we've got to come to a point of accepting that this person's not going to get better, that this person is having the toughest time of their life, and that we as the caregivers need to become more resourceful, take care of ourselves, as well as make sure that they are as comfortable and happy as possible.
And learn and educate yourself. And they are, thank God we live in internet time, where our friend Google is our best partner. Google knows everything. Just Google and you will get a video. If you need to ask questions, call the places, the Alzheimer's Association, San Diego, Alzheimer's San Diego, Jewish Family Service, so many amazing places. Learn, educate, be, and listen. At this point, we as a country, we have to come up and learn to be dementia friendly. We are trying to educate the person in the grocery store to see that if you see somebody that don't react in a way. There was few months ago, there was a story of a lady somewhere went to the supermarket. She walked, she bought something, and she forgot to pay. It was $2, probably soda. She forgot to pay. She had dementia. She forgot to pay. She left and she walked out. The supermarket called the police. The police went, saw her walking, grabbed her, put her in the, excuse me, see the lady has dementia. Can we be a little bit dementia friendly and see and treat people with respect? So as a society, we have to, because this problem is here to stay.
Yeah, 100%. Aviva, this has been amazing. I want to kind of just talk about a couple of the takeaways I got. Do never ask, do you remember? Because that's what doesn't really work in the mind of a dementia Alzheimer's patient. Use music as much as possible because music is the last thing to go. Get support, educate yourself. And the last thing that for me is like the most that hits me in the heart is don't disconnect, but connect more, because they are having the tough time, not you.
They are. And Igal, I am going to, I'm going to read you a poem that somebody wrote it. And every time that I read it, it puts tear in my eyes. And the title is, Do Not Ask Me to Remember.
Okay.
Do not ask me to remember. Don't try to make me understand. Let me rest and know you are with me. Kiss my cheek and hold my hand. I'm confused beyond your concept. I am sad and sick and lost. All I know is that I need you to be with me at all costs. Do not lose your patience with me. Do not scold or curse or cry. I can't help the way I'm acting. Can't be different, though I try. Just remember that I need you, that the best of me is gone. Please don't fail to stand beside me. Love me till my life is done.
Beautiful. And with that, I'm going to end this podcast because if not, I'm going to lose it. So, Aviva, thank you. This has been outstanding. As we say in the podcast, may you have much strength and courage to keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an incredible, huge mitzvah. God gave you this gift. May you continue for many, many years, and may you keep educating people so we can have a dementia-friendly society. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And it's been incredible.
It has been my pleasure. You are not alone. For everybody and your listeners, I am here for you. And support, and may God bless you all and your family members.
Thank you. And don't forget to listen to the next episode of the Tribesmen podcast. Join us for a conversation after you've listened to this about dementia and Alzheimer's. If you have a loved one, please let us know so we can chat about it. Go to Tribesmen, Jewish Men Leading on Facebook. And remember, to you as well, strength and courage.